This is 911 Lone Star Season 4, Episode 1 discussion/review titled The New Hotness. We got mystery wives, we got raining frogs. Let's talk about it.
Live life for the fight, yeah, I'm here to get it. I got drive, got sight, always have a vision. I go by at night, I be in my feelings, I'm a big fight.
911 Lone Star is back, and Season 4, Episode 1 came in with a bang, and I ain't mad at it. Now, I know a lot of people feel the same way I feel. 911 Lone Star comes in and it brings just a little bit different vibe to it compared to 911. And, you know, with it being a spinoff, it has a little bit more liberties to play with because 911 was established and they kind of knew the original formula worked, so they took a little bit more liberties with 911 Lone Star, and I'm not mad at that. The jokes, there's a little bit more jokes in 911 Lone Star, but when it gets serious, they get serious. And this episode for Season 1, we know 911 brings in the disasters, and they done it yet again. This time it was a storm, and it pretty much wrapped up in this entire first episode, and I'm really enjoying that about the new seasons because sure, most of the time the big, traumatic event takes place over the course of 1 or 2 episodes. In the very beginning, it was maybe like 2 to 3 episodes, and then they dialed it back. So now it's just 1 episode where they're dealing with this big traumatic event, and then boom, bam, it's over. And I'm not mad at it. I feel like that wraps everything up nicely in a nice little bow, and then it gives us that traumatic event, and then we deal with the rest of the stuff throughout the season, and we don't have to worry about that anymore, and we have time to develop delve into the characters a little bit more earlier on in the season. Now, this episode gave us a lot of stuff. Like I said, with the storm, the rain and frogs. Oh my gosh, the dude that had the frog in his throat, literally, when he was on the phone. I like how they really showcased all of that, and then they kind of gave us a time frame, if you will. Like we saw what was happening in the beginning with the dude in the porta potty and him being sucked up into the air, and then we kind of jump back in time to get a before and after, if you will, and we see that Owen is going through something right now, as we learned in this episode. What was her name? Catherine. She took a job in DC, so Owen is alone. Mateo's not really spending time with him that much. Him and Nancy, their relationship seems to be blossoming, and TK's worried about his wedding. So like Owen is pretty much, I don't say in a rut, but like he's on his own right now, and he decides to buy a motorcycle and joins this basically I want to say a white nationalist group, which he thought was just a motorcycle group, but it turns out there's so much more. Now, I'm going to talk about some other stuff, but I want to talk about Owen for a moment. Now, going into this episode, we see that Owen was dealing with some stuff, but I knew the moment him and Judd went to that, that bar, and we saw all this stuff going on, and that dude was talking like the way, whatever he said to Judd, it was like, well, good thing they got you young. Our school system didn't have a chance to really corrupt you or whatnot. I was like, oh my gosh, I know exactly what this is. And at the ending, when the dude was getting the brand, I was like, no. And Owen feeling some type of way, him and Judd having a whole heart to heart. I knew in that moment that Owen was going to have to go undercover in this group to try to obtain information, because the FBI or law enforcement have been watching them. And at the ending of the episode, we see that this FBI agent, they have been watching this group, and now I guarantee you they're going to want Owen to go undercover, because he was done with the group entirely. Him and Judd was like, nope, this ain't it. But now I guarantee you they want him to go undercover, and old girl might be a new love interest with Owen, because for some reason Owen be getting all these little fine women coming after him, and he ruins it, but he have a bunch of them. It was nice to see everybody again, man. Like I said, we see Mateo and Nancy, their relationship are developing. TK and Carlos are going strong, except for a notch in the buckle, if you will, because Carlos has a wife, which is also his best friend. Well, yeah, best friend. They grew up as best friend, which is Iris, which is Captain Blake's sister that we saw and was looking for in Season 1. I think that's a very nice callback. We haven't really dealt with the Blakes at all since Season 1, and them to come back and bring her in and make her relevant. Now, I saw an article about it, but it's nice to actually see it and go forward with it. I feel like it's going to be a nice storyline, but it's going to cause some friction between TK and Carlos, because throughout the episode, we see Carlos is kind of debating on whether to tell TK, and then him and TK kind of have a heart-to-heart about it, and TK is okay and cool with it. And then Carlos went to meet Iris, and she's not willing to give him the divorce until she meets TK. Now, we thought that she was still going to be struggling with her schizophrenia, but she's fine. She's taking her medicine, but she's not willing to give Carlos the divorce. And Carlos is like, oh, I know you have got to be joking with me. Because they got 8 weeks. And I learned this episode, it's nice to learn something new, that in Texas, you have to be married a whole month before you can decide to get married again, which is something that's cool. But she don't want to give Carlos the divorce, which sucks, man. We get to see everybody in the 126, and I felt like it was a great episode, man. Now, we see all of the catastrophe that's going on with this episode, the heat wave. Well, I don't want to say heat wave, like the heat storm or whatever it is, the rain, the frogs, like all of that, man. It was hilarious, but it was enjoyable at the same time. But we see Tommy met someone that they bumped into on 2 separate 911 calls at this little carnival or fair or whatever, which, by the way, I would not be going back anymore. I tell you that. And the dude that was in the porta potty, that was always a fear of mine. I'm gonna be 100%. Like being trapped in the porta potty and then just getting taken away. Like they hit the nail on the head for me, man. Like that's 100% a fear of mine. And anyway, the dude that she met twice, she decided they were going back and forth. And when I saw him and I saw who it was, which is DB Woodside, aka Amenadiel from Lucifer, like he gonna be a love interest for Tommy. Like I knew the moment I saw it, and then we see her treating him twice, and they were kind of clicking and connecting. He has a daughter, he's separated, she has 2 daughters. Her husband died. It's not as bright and cheerful, but you know what I'm saying. So I knew that there was a moment for them to kind of click and connect. She gave him her digits, and at the ending of the episode, we see that he's her pastor. I knew the moment we see them celebrating and praising the Lord at church, I was like, he's gonna walk out and be the pastor. Like, I knew it in my mind. That was exactly what was gonna happen. It turns out that's what happened. And she's like, I hate on my pastor. Overall, man, the episode was great. I loved it. It was nice to see Grace again. It was just a fun episode, and it was a nice, fun, energetic way to bring in everything. Like I said, 911 and Lone Star both have cut like the whole catastrophe events down to 1 episode to kind of really deal with that, and I'm not mad at that. And I cannot wait for season 4 because I am excited, and I kind of want to see how they handle it with Owen going undercover. Like, I don't think it should happen because he's not a cop, he's a firefighter, but I do want to see how it kind of transpires and how they're going to handle it as we go forward, because we know that, these kind of groups are actually really dangerous, and we know that Owen have been introduced to them. I do want to see how it's going to be handled with Owen, because he has introduced Judd to them, and Judd is married to a black woman. He has a kid. Paul is transgender. TK and Carlos are gay. Marjan, there's so much going on and so much diversity, and we love all that. But a group like the group he's trying to infiltrate, they're not so keen on that. So I wonder how that's going to play out with him being undercover. And I feel like that's going to be very evident as we go forward throughout this season. But I am super excited that 911 Lone Star is back, baby. This is really incredible. Don't forget to smash the like button until you can't smash any more. Comment down below, and I'll be sure to respond to each and every one of them. And subscribe. Peace out.
I cannot complain because today, I'm doing my